Today we're going to be discussing technical SEO audits and how you can actually perform a technical SEO audit on your website. Now, for anybody that has never done a technical SEO audit, this video is going to go from zero to basically hero, identifying all the issues that you have on your website, figuring out how to fix them, and also what you should be looking out for. Now, if you've never done a technical SEO audit, what a technical SEO audit allows you to do is it allows you to analyze how search engines, first of all, crawl, render, and index your website, but then it also allows you to identify any barriers on your website's growth. So, for example, if you have got any images on your website that are massive in size, and when Google basically crawls any of those pages, it will take a lot of your crawl budget up. So we're going to be talking about crawl budgets. We're going to be talking about schema, a lot of different things that you should be looking at when it comes to your website. Now, one thing that I will say, starting from the word go, is I am in the process of doing a complete rehaul of my website. I think this morning I probably deleted about 45 pages. So we are going to have a lot of technical SEO errors here, which is actually a good thing for you guys, because you can see exactly what I am looking at and what I'm doing to fix those issues as well. Also, the link for this blog article will be in the description. You can check it out if you want to go at it at your own speed. But let's get started. So what is a technical SEO audit? A technical SEO audit evaluates the systems and signals that help search engines discover, understand, and rank your content. Now, in my eyes, I think there are three core types of audits. First of all, you've got technical SEO audits, which is what we're doing. Second of all, we've got an on-page audit, and then third, we have got a backlink audit. If you guys want me to do separate videos on on-page audits and backlink audits, let me know in the comments, and I'll do another video on those as well. But basically, what a technical SEO audit does is it ensures search engines can access and also read your content and your entire website efficiently as well. This is the thing that we need to focus on the most when it comes to doing a audit. We want to make certain that our website is as efficient as possible as it can be for search engines. We first of all obviously do this by reviewing our robots.txt. Now, I've got like a very, very simple example of how a robots.txt file should look like. If you don't know how to access your robots.txt, you can literally just go to any website and just search robots.txt after. So I've just got kasra-.com/robots.txt. Now, what you should see in there is user agent and then -*. Let me just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that. So this is what it should be like: user agent and then disallow. So basically this means that when when Googlebot hits this URL, it will not index it, which is what we want. And then we've also got allow as well when it comes to the admin.ajax.php. And then we've also got our sitemap as well. And if we open up our sitemap, you will see that it is fully working. It's referenced in our posts, pages, and categories. So if I zoom out of that, this is a very basic example. If you guys don't have anything in your robots.txt, at least just copy this so you've got something in there. Then we've got validating our sitemap. So check, it only lists 200 URLs. So by default, if you are using tools like Yoast or Rank Math or All-in-One SEO, it will obviously set up a limit. So if I click onto pages here, as you can see, we've got 22 pages, and then, or sorry, that was posts. And then within our pages, we've got 39 page URLs as well. And I don't even think we've got that many categories. Let's just take a look. Yeah, we've got 7 URLs in our category. Like what I said before, if you are using a plugin like Rank Math or Yoast, you probably don't need to worry about the validating the sitemap. One thing I will say is that if you go into your Google Search Console and if you don't have a submitted sitemap here, make certain that you actually submit your sitemap. So if I didn't see a submitted sitemap, I would literally just grab this sitemap and I would just paste it in there and I would click submit. Now, obviously I've got this. I submitted it, or the last time I submitted it was on the 7th of October. The last time it was read on, it was on the 8th of October. So that means that Google is actually crawling our website. It's actually identifying and picking up any new pages as well. Then what we need to do is confirming canonicalization. Now, if you guys have got a page that is not indexed on Google, so for example, if we've got this page here that we're looking at, and let's say this wasn't indexed on Google. Now, this is actually indexed on Google, but let's say if it wasn't, the first check to see if it is actually indexed is obviously doing the site colon and then it's the URL after. This basically tells Google, hey, we only want to see this specific URL if it is in your index. If it's not, the next step that I would obviously be doing at a page level is using a tool called Detailed SEO. This is what it looks like. It's a free Chrome extension, by the way, so you don't need to pay any money. But using a tool called Detailed SEO, I would look to see if the URL is the exact same as the canonical. And as you can see, we are actually self-referencing here, which is a good thing. If it was different, I would then make certain that this URL is self-referencing if it should be. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is if it isn't self-referencing, if the canonical's going to another URL, you will have indexing and crawling issues. So just make certain that you actually do this check. And it's making certain that, first of all, it's indexable, which obviously we've got a green tick there saying yes, it is. And then it is also self-referencing here as well. The next couple things I would obviously look at is making certain that if the title tag is relevant to the intent of the actual page, and so is the description as well. But that's basically what a confirming the canonicalization basically means. Now, if you were going to be doing this on bulk, this is what I would be doing. I would load up Screaming Frog. And if we take a look here, right, if we go to all pages, or actually if we go to internal here, you can actually scroll down on the right hand side and it's categorized everything for us. So if you look here, you've got HTML, you've got JavaScript files, CSS files, but what we're actually looking for is canonicals. So if we keep scrolling down, there's some like great insights that this tool actually gives you. So for example, page titles, we can even look at missing page titles. Now I've got no missing page titles, which is a good thing, but we do have a couple duplicate page titles. So that would be something that I would be looking at, for example. Now let's keep going down. What we're looking at is canonicals. That's what we want to take a look at and see if there are any canonicals. It even tells you if you've got lorem ipsum on any of your content, or even if you've got any like grammar issues and stuff like that. We've also got like some soft 404 pages, which we'll look at in a second. So as you can see here, we've got canonicals. We've got a total of 57, and all of them out of the 57, they are all self-referencing. So that's a good thing. If you have got, like, let's say if you had 165 canonical, or sorry, if you had 165 overall here, and maybe you had like 100 self-referencing, that would obviously raise some alarm bells. But in this case, everything is totally fine. Now, if you did have any canonical issues, I'll show you how to fix it on Rank Math. So I would just load up Rank Math here. And if we take a look here, you can actually see, so this is what the general looks like. This is like my page title, description, etc. If we click on advanced, which is like the image of like a suitcase, you've obviously got certain tick boxes here. So we want to make certain that the pages that we care about, that we want to rank, are set to index. And then the canonical needs to be this exact same as the URL. By default, when you create a new page, it is. But if, say, for example, maybe you had somebody working on your website, maybe you were testing out some stuff, just make certain that this is actually left as blank. So then, now that we've looked at our robots.txt, our sitemap, and our canonicalization, those are probably like the three biggest issues when it comes to like crawling or indexing a site. That's what a lot of people like mess up on. Then we've got site architecture. Now, basically what site architecture is that we want to make certain that we have got the correct click depth. We are obviously internal linking, and we also don't have any orphan pages. Now, one thing I will say is that I am currently in the process of uploading 90 blog articles that I've written. So I reckon I might actually have some orphan pages, which is a good thing because you guys can obviously see how I would fix some of these issues. So what I would be looking at is, if we again go to internal, we want to set this to HTML only. And we also want to set a status code of 200. So if we take this, for example, status code 200, this is going to show us 57 URLs in total. Now let's take a look here. If we go all the way over to crawl depth, as you can see here, we've got some pages that are 6 crawl depths away or 6 clicks away. We've got some that are 4 away. Now, basically what crawl depth means is how many clicks it is from the home page. Now, for example, this is how a crawler would access some of our pages. So right now we are, let's say we're the pretend Googlebot crawler. If we were to take a look at the link building section on our website, for example, we would basically get then sent to our main link building page here. And then we would basically need to go through and then access some of the pages that's on here. So for example, if we were a crawler and we wanted to access the tiered link building, this is how a crawler would basically visit our website. So this is like an example of how click depth works. Now, obviously we were just on the homepage and then we accessed our link building article and then we had some supporting articles off of that, which is totally fine. But in some cases, what you might end up doing by accident is you might not have an article down being uploaded that has enough internal links from some of like your root pages. So this is like the ideal site structure where you've got like your homepage and then you might be linking off to technical SEO, to link building, to content SEO. And then within all of those subsections, you will also have some internal links going through to other supporting articles. You just basically want to make certain that everything can be at least 3 clicks away from your homepage. Now, the reason why I say at least 3 clicks away is in some cases there might be some huge monster websites that are watching this video, or people that work for bigger brands and stuff. You might then decide, well, actually, it's impossible to have every single page 3 clicks away. So in that case, then there would be certain pages throughout your site where it might be 4 or 5 clicks away. Like, let's say if you've got a 60,000 page or 60,000 product e-commerce store, then in that case, it might be a little bit different for you. But as a rule of thumb, this is a good example to go by. Now, again, if we take a look at my site here, I've got a lot of work to do because I've obviously got my crawl depth, which is like massive in some cases. I also don't have as much unique in links as well. So some of my pages only have 2 internal links. So I would obviously make certain to, when I'm going back through and re-optimizing some blog pages, I would make certain to add more internal links to my SEO tools page, for example. So we have went over click depth and we've also went over internal linking, that it's important to have internal links when it obviously makes sense to relevant pages. Like for example, right now, the reason why we're talking about this is because we are optimizing for crawl budget, which then this link here, internal links to my crawl budget, what is it and how to optimize for it, right? The next thing that you would also take a look at is orphan pages. Now, you remember how I said that I have got some pages that have only got like 2 internal links? Now, what an orphan page is basically a page on your website that has been published to your blog, or it might be a product, for example, and it is got 0 internal links. Now, the reason why that becomes a problem is that, yes, you might be able to view it. You might be able to go into like your back end and view the page. However, where that becomes an issue is when search engines try to crawl that page. If there is zero internal links going through to that site, or sorry, through to that page, then Google or Bing bot or any of the LLMs, for example, that come and try to crawl your website and that web page, they won't actually see it. So you want to make certain that one of the things that you are actively looking at when you take a Screaming Frog audit or a Sitebulb audit is the amount of internal links that each of your pages have. Now, in some cases, there will be certain pages on your website that will have more internal links. Like, for example, the pages within my nav bar, because I've got, let's say, 57 blog articles or pages, that means that there's going to be 57 links going through to all of these navbar links. Or if, say, for example, you've got some links in the footer, that will also be the exact same case. Now, this is an ideal site structure. So we've got homepage, and then we've got category, for example. So then you would have like technical SEO as being the internal link in your nav bar. And then within that page, you would then have maybe an internal link going through to core web vitals or fix indexing issues or audit, for example. Now, if we take a look at my main page, so this is just my technical SEO page, not my technical SEO audit page, the page that is actually within the nav bar, or where it will be soon, is, as you can see, I've got so many blog articles going through, like, for example, Google crawling and indexing. Then we've got a page talking about how to fix indexing issues if you've got any. So this is what a good website structure should look like. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm actually recording this video, because I am currently doing exactly what I'm saying in this video to my actual live website. Step number 3 is page speed and core web vitals. Now, again, going back to what we were saying before about having a efficient website for Google to crawl, you want to make certain that from a speed point of view, your website is super quick. Now, I've actually used this example before, but let's say there was 2 exact identical websites. The content quality was the same, the amount of internal links was the same, the amount of domain authority and backlinks, everything on these 2 websites was the exact same. Now, although that would be very difficult to do, but just bear with me with this example. If website A only took 0.2 seconds for all of the pages to load, and website B took 2 seconds for each of the pages to load, then Google would by default prefer website A, because when it comes to crawling that website, it can get round and crawl a lot more pages a lot faster in the same amount of time that it would take website B for 5 pages to load. So from an efficiency point of view, we want to take a look at our page speed and our core web vitals and just make certain that everything is up to scratch. Now, one way that you can obviously test this is by going to Google and searching Google Page Speed Insights. And if we take a look here, we can just paste in our blog article, and this will basically give us some scores of what we should be achieving. Now, you can obviously take a look at it on desktop and also on mobile. Now, one thing that, again, I do need to take into consideration is my largest content paint. Right now, I am at 3.2 seconds, and it should be targeting to 2.5 seconds. Now, one thing that I will say is this image here, this hasn't actually been optimized. So this was one thing that I would actually optimize. So, like, for example, this is 1200 by 1200. Just by saving this image, so I'm just going to save that, and I can run it through like any image optimization tool. So I'll just search image optimizer. Tiny PNG is a safe bet. So if we just upload that and paste it in, so as you can see, we've been able to shrink, or not shrink, but reduce it by 15%. And we can obviously download it again and re-upload it. Now, in this case, I would probably actually be more inclined to resizing this image as opposed to optimizing it. So right now, this is like 1200 by 1200. I would probably maybe shrink that down to maybe like 600 by 600. And obviously, you can do that by using like Photoshop or Canva, and then just re-uploading it through to the website. Then we've got interaction to next paint. Now, my interaction to next paint So on this audit, it's saying the interaction to next paint is actually not actually showing up. If you do have that issue, you can obviously right click, go to inspect, then go to Lighthouse, and you can actually run a test within here. Now, one thing that I would say about this is if you do have a lot of Chrome extensions, you might get a little bit of inaccuracy when you do this, but it should give you a more, it should actually give you an INP score, an interactive to next paint. So as you can see, we actually have got our first content paint. Again, it's not giving us an INP score, so I'm going to actually go past that. But the good thing is we actually have got a list of things that we actually need to sort out. So for example, render blocking request. Now, one thing that I don't, again, have on this website is I don't actually have a caching plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install WP Rocket, and I'm just going to go through some of the settings. So I've just downloaded WP Rocket. I also believe you can get the free version. If we just go to add plugin, let me just double check, because there are quite a few different caching plugins that you can get that basically give you the exact same performance anyway. So WP Rocket. So if you don't have a WP Rocket license, what I would probably recommend, which would be next on my list, would be WP Fastest Cache, and that will obviously sort a lot of the caching issues that you would actually have when you are running any types of page speed audits. So once WP Rocket's been installed, what I would then basically be doing is I would make certain that my file optimization, I've got Minify CSS on, I've got Minify JavaScript files on, and then you can just obviously click Save Changes. There's also other stuff that this does for you on the fly. So for example, you can do media, and you can obviously select stuff to be lazy loaded. So you remember how we had the big image and it was causing our first content paint to be delayed? That's because we've not actually got any lazy loading. So we can obviously do enable for images. You could even do it for like CSS backgrounds. So I'm going to select that. You can also select it for iframes and videos. And if we again just click Save Changes, so that's for our media. There might be one or two more settings that we might just tweak with. I think that is actually it. So with the image optimization, you can obviously install a plugin called Imagify. I'm not going to do that right now, but there is also that option. So if we take another audit of this, so right now we're on 57. I'm going to rerun it and I'm going to show you the results. So as you can see here, just by adding a few tweaks to the actual WP Rocket, we went from 57 up to 64. Now, obviously, if I was to spend maybe another hour or so applying some changes, optimizing some images, this would obviously go up to maybe like late 70s or maybe even early 80s as well, which I'm fine with. Now, a few tools that you can obviously use to identify your page speed and where it should be. So obviously Page Speed Insights, Lighthouse, and the Chrome Dev Tools, which I showed you before. Then we have got mobile first rendering. Now, one thing that's really important is, I think it was maybe like 2020 or 2019, Google actually switched to mobile first indexing because they obviously identified, I think it's now 60% of all searches are coming from a mobile device, and it's a little bit higher in America. So they actually decided to take the jump then and go from desktop indexing to mobile indexing. Now, what you want to make certain is that your web page is actually optimized for mobile. So what I mean by that is, from a UI and UX point of view, it is actually a nice and well put together design on mobile. Now, if you are ever concerned if your web page is actually indexable and crawlable on mobile, is if you actually go to Google Search Console, paste in any of your URLs, And where it says page indexing, if you open this up, it will actually tell you if it was successful. So as you can see, it was last crawled on the 14th at 11:16, so maybe 4 hours ago. The crawl happened as Googlebot smartphone. The crawl was allowed. Page was obviously, or the page fetch was successful, and indexing was obviously allowed, and then obviously the canonical there is fine. Now, if there was an issue when it was trying to fetch something, it would obviously say unsuccessful, and that's when I would be a little bit concerned. Also, if you go into like your pages here, you will be able to see if there are any pages that actually do have any canonical issues or pages with redirects and stuff like that. So these could also be ones that you take into consideration when you are looking to fix any. One thing that I would say is when you are using any caching plugins like WP Rocket and stuff, is make certain that the JavaScript and the CSS is obviously accessible on mobile. If you are having like mobile and design bugs and stuff like that, that's one of the biggest issues where people kind of mess up on. As you can see here, I've even mentioned that common rendering issues, blocked JavaScript or CSS in robots.txt, lazy loaded content never triggered by Googlebot. So this is another issue that some websites have. And then we've got delayed hydration in SPAs, so single page applications. This last one, if you're using WordPress, you probably don't need to worry about it as such. We then have got structured data and schema validation. Now, one thing that you can obviously do is if you head over, grab your URL, and if we search schema testing tool, the second result is validator.schema.org. If you just paste in your website and then click run test, it will actually go to that page and it'll tell you which schema you are actually using. So right now I am using article schema, and I've tagged up the publisher, which is obviously myself. I've obviously got an image of the actual offer. And if we scroll down as well, there's like few different parts to schema. This probably deserves its own video, schema, but just by making certain that there's no issues within your schema, that's probably like a good thing, right? There's obviously different pages that will have different types of schema. Like my homepage, for example, I believe has different schema to my inner pages. So if I run a new test here, click on run test, and as you can see, I've got, actually, do you know what? I've actually got article schema on my homepage. So that again probably needs changing. Now, if you did want to change your schema, again, if you're using rank math, it is very easy to change your schema. All you need to do is you just go into your page, you click on rank math, and if we click on the third icon here, you can actually change it. You can change this to be in any type of schema that you want. So if you wanted article, if you wanted a news type, if you wanted to change it to blog post, you can change all of that within here. It also allows you to validate your schema if you do have Rank Math Pro as well. If you don't have Rank Math Pro, you can obviously just use the schema validation tool, and that'll tell you if there are any issues. Now, the next thing that we would want to look at are soft 404s. Now, again, if we go back into Screaming Frog, what we want to do is, first of all, make certain that this is selected to be showing you only HTML. And then if we go all the way down, actually, I'll also remove the filter that we had here. And if we take a look at pages with client error. So we've actually got 51 404s. And basically these are pages that are internally linking to the wrong page. So if we take a look at this URL here, for example, as you can see, this is going to be a 404. Same goes with our second page on the list. So what you would want to do is if you select in links, it will actually tell you which pages are internally linking to that. So if we go over to here, And if we take a look at this, so anchor text internal linking framework. So if we just do a Control F, as you can see here, internal linking framework is an internal link to a 404 page, which is a little bit, it's a little bit funny because it's obviously talking about internal linking and we've got a 404. But like what I said at the start of this video, I am currently in the process of uploading, I think it's maybe like 90 blog articles, and we've deleted a load of blogs as well. So in this case, all I would do is I would go into edit page and I would either change this internal link to a page that is actually live on my website. So if we just go all the way down here, so I would either change this to another page that is somewhat relevant to what internal linking framework article is meant to be, or I would build the article, or I would just remove the internal link completely. So you've got basically three options there. Now, this is an internal link for a reason. We are in the process of uploading articles, so I'm just going to leave it for the time being. But if you do have a lot of 404s or double 301s, for example, you will want to do something about it, whether it's removing the internal link or internal linking to another relevant page. Then step number 7 is obviously reporting and making certain that you're prioritizing stuff, because there's certain things in here that you wouldn't want to worry about too much, but there's other parts where you would want to jump on it quickly as possible. So for example, criticals would be blocks, indexing, or visibility. So if you had a line within your robots.txt file that would just stop all crawlers from crawling your website, that's something that I would fix immediately. Like right now, this second, stop watching this video, go and fix that, because you've got bigger issues at hand. And obviously one of the easiest ways to check if you do have an issue like that is obviously doing site colon and just your homepage alone, and making certain that your homepage is actually indexed. If nothing is indexed when you do that, you've got some serious issues. You need to fix your robots.txt file, or there might be something within there like a canonical that's blocking indexability. Then we've got significant effects. So these are high priority. So 404 on key pages, like what I was showing you guys before. I've got maybe 25, 30 404s that I actually need to fix. Those would be things that I would be fixing next. And then after I fix these two issues, that's when I would go in and sort out slow web pages. So that's basically like slow assets or orphan pages. The orphan pages or pages that don't have as many internal links, they can wait, especially if you've got something messing up your robots.txt, or you've got, let's say, 25, 30, 404 pages. Now, one thing that you can obviously do with this is you can easily just export this. So I'm just going to do Kasra errors. I'm going to export this to my desktop, and we can create a new Google Sheet and create a actual worksheet that we can work from. So all I've done is I've just created a new Google Sheet. I'm going to click on import. I'm going to click upload, and I'm just going to click and go to desktop. We've got Kasra errors, and we're just going to upload this through to our website. So import data. And as you can see here, we've got all of the 404s. We've even got some 429s as well. So these would be errors that I would basically be going through and fixing on my website. You could even clean this up. So you can even like include something like fixed column, and we can do insert a tick box. So this is basically just for our sake, where we can obviously keep track of our workload, what's been done on the website, what's been fixed. So I'm just going to do text contains. So this is a conditional format for any of the non-Google Sheet experts. So again, text contains false. We're going to click red. So now, as we're working through this, we can basically tick off any issues that we've actually went through and been able to fix. So some tools for technical SEO audits. We have obviously got Google Search Console. That's free to use. We've got Screaming Frog. Now, Screaming Frog, I believe, is free for the first 500 URLs. So, for example, in this example today, I would not have needed to use the paid version. You also do have Sitebulb, and I believe Sitebulb also has a free version. I might be wrong in saying this. Let me just double check. Pricing. They do have a free trial. I don't know what's actually involved within that free trial. 14-day free trial. They might ask you for like a credit card or something. So you could also use Sitebulb. You then obviously have got Ahrefs and SEMrush, and that's more so for like backlinks checking and keyword or content checking. They do have a technical checker, so you can also use that as well. It's not terrible, but it might cost you. Then you've got Page Speed Insights, and obviously Page Speed Insights we use to check which of our pages was scoring low. And then we've also got Log File Analyzer, and that's more for bigger websites. I might actually create a separate video for that because not every website might need a Log File Analyzer. So as a complete recap, this is what I would do. I would start with a crawl and index checking my URLs. I would then validate the website site structure and the speed of all of my pages, and then I would make certain that first of all my web pages are obviously mobile accurate. So when Google's mobile bot crawler comes to crawl my pages, it obviously can make sense of the website. Then I would obviously report all of the issues in a sheet, something like this. It doesn't need to be like really crazy in design and stuff like that. Something that's just easy to keep track of. Maybe just add the tick boxes, and then obviously work through all of those errors. So that's been my video on technical SEO. If you guys have enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like. If you want me to work on your website, if you've got a project that you want to pitch to me, head over to kasra-.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. And if you guys do want this blog article, it will be in the URL down below. Feel free to use it. And if you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like and also subscribe. I am doing daily SEO videos again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.